Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our BBR Week 4 battle against 6-foot Hacks and his Durham Druddigons. I'm very excited for this game. Leo has a terrifying team, but I do think that we have some pretty good stuff to potentially take his team on. Minus that big Yveltal, but we'll get into that a little bit here in a second. But before I do jump into the team builder, I do want to mention only a good 40 to 50% of you guys that are watching the video each and every week as they go up are actually subbed to the channel. So if you want to do me a massive favor, go ahead and hit that sub button. It's really easy, completely free, and you can always change your mind later, but I'm sure you'll enjoy the content. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the team builder. There will be a timestamp earlier in the video, as well as in the description below when the battle starts, so you can jump ahead to that. This week will be post-com though, just a heads up. Me and Leo played this game incredibly late at night, like very, very late at night, so I just couldn't record in my house without waking everybody up. And yeah, so we're heading to postcom this week. It should be back to livecom next week and stuff like that. But regardless, let's go ahead and jump in. Our team, if you did forget, is at the top of the screen right there. It consists of Marshadow, Melmetal, Necrozma, Crocodile, Salamence, Tapu Bulu, Milotic, Aromatisse, Rotom Fan, Roselia, and Porygon. While Leo's team on the bottom right there consists of Yveltal, Zeraora, Clefable, Jirachi, Latias, Nidoking, Blastoise, Magmortar, Kangaskhan, Tangela, and Throw. Now, biggest threats to me, Zeraora is a big issue. Plasma Fist plus Close Combat is very good versus my team, and this Pokemon can honestly rip through my team pretty well. It also probably needs, like Blaze Kick coverage for the Tapu Bulu chilling in the back as well. But again, very scary mon versus our team in particular. And then that Yveltal. Yveltal is for sure the biggest threat. However, I do think that he's forced into a defensive Yveltal, because if you look at Leo's team and you look at Marshadow, it is the only Pokemon that can avoid a 2-hit KO. The only Pokemon that can avoid a 2-hit KO from Poltergeist and things like that. Defensive Clefable, nope. And there's not much else. I mean, obviously he has the Poltergeist immunity in, Big Kang, but Kang doesn't want to take a close combat, that's for sure. So I really do think that he's forced into a really defensive Yveltal, which can actually avoid a 2-hit KO from Life or Rock Tomb, which is stronger than Ice Punch because it is technically boosted, though I felt that Ice Punch was a little bit better as a mid-ground option because it hit things like Tangle and stuff like that. But actually, let's jump into Marshadow. Our first member is going to be said Marshadow that I think goes crazy this matchup. We are rocking out with the Life Orb Technician as our ability, Spectral Thief, Shadow Sneak, Ice Punch, Close Combat, 28 HP, max attack, 36 defense, 4 speed def, and 188 speed with an adamant nature. Now, yes, we are running Spectral Thief over the Poltergeist just because I felt it's a little bit more reliable. I wanted to potentially steal boosts from things like Latias if they end up getting out of hand. Same thing with the Clefable. I can steal their boost, make sure that setup mons like that aren't as big of an issue. Maybe a Cosmic Power Jirachi. So I feel like Special Thief was just a little bit more reliable overall, because again, I do think he's bringing that defensive Yveltal as his check, opposed to anything else in his team. And Special Thief still 2-hit KOs a vast majority, especially with a little bit of chip. We have Sneak for priority, Ice Punch because, like I said, it hits things like Tangela, for super effective coverage, which is obviously very nice. It also hits the Yveltal for decent damage, and then Close Combat because Close Combat is also pretty free. But most of the time, we're going to be picking Spectral Thief or Ice Punch. EVs wise, we have enough speed to creep a Latias, creeping a max speed Salamence. We have a Life Orb number in HP, which means we end in the number 9. Then we have max attack, and then we throw the rest in defense to take straight sucker punches, maybe a Plasma Fist from Zeraora, a sucker punch from Nidoking if we need it, Scarf Rachi hits, things like that. So yeah, that's going to be Marshadow this week. Next up, we got Big Melmetal rocking out the Assault Vest, Iron Fist as its ability, Double Iron Bash, Earthquake, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. EVs wise, we got 4 HP, 180 attack, 52 defense, 180 speed def, and 92 speed with an adamant nature. Now, EVs wise, we are creeping no speed Throw if he does want to go that route. Though I don't think Throw ever comes versus me. I figured it could be nice because it covers other things, creeping us pretty aggressively if we really need it. I almost went enough speed for Clefable, but I needed the bulk this week, and I don't think that's too big of a deal since we are AV. We will be taking straight Fire Blast from that thing pretty well, even if it does end up being Life Orb. So I think that's very important. EVs wise, other than that, we live 2 Life Orb Timid Dark Pulses from Yveltal. We live 2 Jolly Zeraora CCs, though I do expect it to be adamant. I do live 2 Jolly ones, and at least give me that information. Then we threw the rest into attack. I think this Pokemon is actually very annoying for Leo to deal with in conjunction with Wish Support. It checks Lati, it checks Jirachi very well, it checks the Zeraora very well. It can actually check it decently you know, invested Yveltal, especially depending on what he clicks, what his item is, things like that. We do have to worry about things like Rocky Helmet, Blastoise, and things like that. Tangela can actually check us decently well with like Leech Seed and stuff like that. But with Wish support and Clark support, I honestly think that Melmetal will be fine in this game. Next up, we have our Necrozma, rocking out with a super cool set. We have the Power Herb as our item, Prism Armor as our ability, Photon Geyser, Autotomized, Meteor Beam, and Dark Pulse. EVs wise, we got 52 HP, 220 special attack, and 236 speed with a timid nature. EVs wise, we were creeping Blastoise, creeping max speed, Tapu Bulu. We Oko an offensive Yveltal, and then we have the rest in HP. This is a phenomenal win con. We need a little bit of chip on things like Brachi. We need a little bit of chip on things like Lottie and Clef. As well as the Yveltal, because I do expect it to be bulkier, and the Zero Aura. And if we can, you know, get that +1 with our Meteor Beam, we do have to save it for the Yveltal because we are 100% wall bite. But I think that's going to be one of his main pivots into this, because typically it would check me very, very well, especially if he's physically defensive and expecting like a DD or Swords Dance set. This thing can go crazy in this matchup. Meteor Beam obviously blows back pretty much Yveltal with just a tiny bit of chip, and then from there, Photon Geyser plus Dark Pulse just rips your Leo's team. So I'm hoping that if we can use Marshadow to break, we can use Melmetal to chip down some of his more annoying bulky Pokemon, that Necro can come in the end game and really just win the game. Next up, we have our Salamence rocking out with the Choice Scarf, Moxie as its ability. EVs wise, we got 252 HP. Sorry, let's run it back. We have Moxie with the Scarf. We are rocking out with Dragon Claw, Outrage, Dueling Beat, and Earthquake. EVs wise, we got max attack, 4 defense, max speed with a Jolly Nature. Sorry, it's very early when I'm recording this, on the day that it needs to go up, so I'm recording it a little bit late. Fourth wall breaking. My bad, guys. But Moxie Mess is another really, really great win con. If we can chip that Rachi, which I think we can do with things like Melmetal, with things like Marshall that obviously break through it, with things like Necro forcing it in because he thinks like, oh no, it's special Necro, I need to use this as a Spadef pivot. Honestly, that makes like an endgame with Moxie Dual Wing Beat very, very viable. Same thing with Clefable. If he needs to go into that to take a hit from the Marshall and we could chip down Clefable and Rachi, Outrage in the endgame with Moxie and being Scarf and Fast and everything can actually go absolutely insane. So I think that Moxie Mence actually is a really, really good matchup this game as an endgame win con. If Necro can't necessarily just win the game, I think that Mence can come in and clean up with Dragon Claw, Outrage, or Dual Wing Beat. We have Earthquake for things like Rachi if we really need it, as well as Nidoking as just a nice clean Oko on that, as well as Zero Aura too, which is obviously really nice. And yeah, just great coverage overall this week, and I think a really potential great late game cleaner. Not really going to be used as a breaker this game, like we have typically used Mence this season, but I think as a end game win con, it's pretty solid. Next up, we have our Crocodile rocking out the Assault Vest, Intimidate its ability, Dark Slayer, Knockoff, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. EVs wise, we got 164 HP, 180 attack, and 164 speed with a Jolly Nature. EVs wise, we are creeping Nidoking, creeping Necrozma. We live 2 Timid, Yveltal, Life Orb, Oblivion Wings, and then we have the rest in attack. This just gives me a nice, you know, Spadef-ish bulky pivot into things like Latias, into things like Nidoking. Nidoking, I was realizing while building this team, I didn't originally have Crook, but Nidoking rips my team if I don't bring like an AV Crook plus Wish support. It's actually very difficult for me to deal with like a Life Orb Nidoking. So that's mainly what Crook is here for. We can kind of, we can soft check that Zero Aura as well with the Intimidate, you know, making us live close combat, things like that. We check Latias. We have Darkest Lair in case it's like, you know, some weird like, you know, Key Berry shenanigans or something like that. I didn't really need a 4th move, and I felt like Lariat was, you know, completely fair to throw it there. As well as like a Cosmic Power Rachi or something like that, which can definitely be very annoying versus my team because, yeah, that's pretty much it though. Definitely just a nice Spadef bulky pivot. Not necessarily super paramount in winning the game, but I figured it would be nice over any other 6 member. Then lastly, we have our Aromatisse rocking out with the leftovers. Moonblast, Wish, Protect, and Heal Belt. 244 HP, 132 defense, and 124 Spadef. With is it Calm? I'm 99% sure it's Calm. Calm is the one where it's minus attack, right? Calm. Oh my god, I'm so bad at that. With a Calm nature. Now this thing is going to be our main Yveltal check, if we can say that. We live 2 Yveltal, Modest, Life Orb, Oblivion Wings, and then we the rest in defense. Again, I really, really do think that he's forced into a defensive Yveltal. I do. I really do think so. Though he could just completely ignore that, realize that Yveltal is also very good versus me offensively, and go with like an offensive set. I really do think he's going to be defensive, but I want to have Aromatisse just in case because it's still my best check regardless. We have great wish support for things like our Crook and our Melmetal, our double AV users, as well as our Necro. If we want to use it early game to break, then we use it later in the game as well. That's obviously definitely a very viable option. It gives us a decent Lottie check. We do have to be careful though in case it's Calm Mind, because it will beat us 1v1, so gotta be careful about that. And yeah, that's gonna be Aromatisse, and that's gonna be the team. Let's go ahead and jump right into the battle. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So you can see the team that Leo elected to bring. He went with the Yveltal, the Kangaskhan, which was a little bit unexpected. Not seeing that over like a Latias or something like that. The Blastoise, the Clefable, Zeraora, and the Jirachi. Now, right off rip, looking at his team, Yveltal, big threat. I don't know exactly what that Kang wants to be. Maybe it could be like, you know, a defensive, or more so Spadef wish set, which I found interesting. But offensively, in my mind, it doesn't do too well versus me in this matchup when I have things like Melmetal, and things like Marshadow really threaten it. But initially, I'm going to lead with my Melmetal, because in theory, it can 1v1 the entirety of Leo's team. Even defensive things like Blastoise, we will beat 1v1 pretty darn easily if we do position ourselves well. So we're going to see the Jirachi lead as we have our Melmetal lead as he stays in to click the Thunder Wave. And now I would have gotten off a massive EQ here, but he unfortunately gets the full para. And that damage on Rachi would have been genuinely amazing for something like my Salamence to win the end game with dual Wing Beat. But unfortunately, it's just not going to happen because he's going to stay in and elect to get his rocks up this next turn. And again, you're going to see that would have been a 2-hit KO. He would have either been forced to switch out prior, or he would have had to sack his Rachi in order to get up rocks, which again, either case would have been genuinely amazing. I'm going to Thunder Punch on a middle ground switch into the Blastoise. We see that that's actually a 2-hit KO, which is genuinely awesome. Being able to 2-hit KO that thing guaranteed is great, and I am going to pivot out. I know I can still wish up my Melmetal. It's still pretty darn healthy, and I know I can obviously be in a good spot from there. We see its helmet, so I know it's probably not going to be a defensive, like a Shell Smash set or anything like that. So he is going to go for a Scald. We are going to get burned, but I am just going to throw off a Heal Bell immediately on this Blastoise right here, as it's pretty darn free. There's nothing this thing can really do to threaten me, especially because I'm burned. It's just gonna throw off another Scald. I know that I'll live, you know, plenty of those more, so where I can still wish up this and my what do you call it, my Melmetal pretty well here, as he is going to go for a rest. This is completely fine with me. It tells me that he's most likely like a Rest Talk plus like Roar, or Rest Talk plus Toxic type set on this, which definitely makes a little bit of sense, especially when you have him on like Blastoise. It's meant to be that physically defensive wall here, but doesn't have its own reliable recovery. As he does show the Sleep Talk, he's not going to get anything other than the Scald though, so we don't get any information on his last move. I believe he does end up being Roar though, but we are just going to throw off another Wish. We should in theory beat this thing 1v1. Guaranteed 100% of the time. So he does it, yeah. So the Roar pops right here, as I don't unfortunately end up getting off the Wish, but we're gonna get sent out into our Necrozma, as I believe right here I do go for a Dark Pulse as a middle ground, expecting him to go potentially Rachi and sack it off or something like that. Not really risking that Yveltal, but he is gonna withdraw right into said Yveltal, and in my head I'm like, this is fine. I still have my full health, Aromatisse. I don't expect him to be Life Orb. I don't expect him to be Specs for sure, and we should be able to live any 2 hits from this thing pretty freely. So I am going to make the pivot out into my Aromatisse, as you're going to see I was wrong. It turns out that he is 150% Choice Specs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that is for sure a 2-hit KO. There's not much I can really do. I wanted to protect potentially. I guess that could have been a nice play, but in case that he didn't think that was, he thought that was a roll or something like that, I wanted to potentially get a Wish off if I had all possibly could. But he is just going to stay in Oblivion Wing and 2-hit KOs, and you're going to see this is super bad. I'm very underprepared for a Specs Yveltal. 100% underprepared. I am going to Thunder Punch because it covers that, that Blastoise coming in again, as he does end up going into it. We Thunder Punch, we take a little bit of Rocky Helmet chip, that's fine. And I believe I just Thunder Punch once again, or do I pivot out this turn? I'm trying to remember, this game was a little bit ago, I won't lie to you. Yeah, I believe we're just going to stay in, and we're going to Thunder Punch right here. As he does wake up, he uses Rest. And this is really annoying because while we could have lived a hit from this Yveltal before, due to this Rocky Helmet chip, our Melmetal is essentially useless, as we get like very low rolls right there. As he is going to pull a Rest right here. That's great for us. And I'm going to Thunder Punch, bring him down to pretty much nothing. And right here, this is a bit of a dumb play. I won't lie to you, because in my head I'm like, if he wants to save this for the Rocky Helmet chip on something else later on, he might pivot out, something like that, on our Thunder Punch. So I clicked Double Iron Bash. There was no reason to, because I at least had Melmetal as a sack if I didn't click Double Iron Bash here. He should always, you know, stay in and sack this, but I clicked Double Iron Bash. He's going to Sleep Talk, and he is going to get Scald, so regardless, this doesn't really matter. And I guess I could have Earthquake. Earthquake would have been fine, because there's no way he was going to save that. So that's a bad play on my end. There's literally no reason for me to do that. We're going to trade our Melmetal for the Blasters, which I'm fine with, but clicking that Double Iron Bash, losing that sack, I would have at least had Switch Initiative, depending on what he wanted to go into the next turn. So that definitely wasn't a very good play from me. I am going to go out into my Crocodile. He is going to go out into his Yveltal, and again, that's pretty darn scary. I'm just going to click Stone Edge right here. I don't live 2 of these, unfortunately, and we're not getting off a lot of damage, being the fact that he's gaining so much health back with his Oblivion Wing, but honestly, it's fine. This is just kind of my best way of, like, slowly maybe chipping this thing down a little bit, putting in range of Marshadow, something like that. And he's going to Oblivion Wing again. Not going to get a ton of HP back, but still a considerable amount, as he's chilling around 75%. However, he is for sure in range of my Necro, so if I can position my Necro to win in this endgame, we could actually be potentially in a pretty decent spot. As I can go into my Marshadow here, with this damage, he should, especially because he's offensive, he should be in range of an Ice Punch, because we're Life Orb from right here. As I am just going to, Close Combat right here, which actually did a little bit more than Ice Punch when I looked at the calcs, as he turns out to be Helmet Clefable, and I found this interesting, because the way he went into this definitely tells me that this was his Marshadow check. But again, I don't know if he prepped for Poltergeist. I don't know if he knows Marshadow got Poltergeist, because Life Orb Poltergeist did a ton of damage. It barely even missed out on the 2-hit KO with Spectral Thief with a Life Orb Adamant Close Combat. Spectral Thief. So Poltergeist did a ridiculous amount. So I was very surprised to see that this was his check. But it's all good. It happens. We just over-prepared and kind of got tunnel vision while building, thinking like this is what he has to bring, and didn't prep for all possibilities as well as we possibly could. So I'm going to go for a Spectral Thief, almost get that KO. Unfortunately, we do not, as he is going to Moonblast, take us out, but I was fine with this. The reason I'm fine with this is because this gives me my opportunity that I need to get into my Necro and get an Autotomize off. If he wants to stay in, just try and Moonblast chip me down, that's fine. I just need him to not get the special attack drop on me. And then I can actually be in a pretty good spot with my Necro here to be able to set up, then get a +1 on the Yveltal when it comes in, if he elects to go into that first, providing he doesn't have Sucker Punch. And he definitely could be on a spec set, have Sucker Punch as a 4th. There's like a last-ditch effort, because it is still Dark Aura boosted. He's going to go for Moonblast. He's not going to get the drop, which, again, genuinely amazing. We're going to Photon Geyser here, knock out the Clef, and this is great, because in my head, I'm thinking, okay, he has to be scared. He has to go into Yveltal here, because in Leo's mind, it's a phenomenal check to a special Necro. And usually when you see Autotomize, you're going to see a special Necro. And yeah, I just feel like that's definitely his play, as he does end up going into the Yveltal right here. I am going to be able to throw off a big Meteor Beam. And from here, it's like, oh shit. Does Necro win? Like, I hit this Meteor Beam, and does Necro just kind of win the game? And we're going to see, we're going to throw off said Meteor Beam, do a ridiculous amount to that Yveltal, and knock it out. So that's great. We're at +1, +2 speed. We should knock out this Jirachi, obviously, because it's chilling at about 25-30% with a Dark Pulse. As we do throw off said Dark Pulse, knock out Jirachi. Again, genuinely amazing. And from here, we just have things like Kang left. Kang and I forget the 4th member. As we're going to be able to throw off a Photon Geyser. We're going to get flinched, and it's going to turn out that he actually has Fake Out plus Sucker. Now, I don't know why Leo didn't go into this first. Didn't make too much sense to me. However, if I can get a high roll on this, if I can, get a lot of damage off with this Outrage, potentially if we crit him, we can actually win with Ments here. But unfortunately, we do not get the crit. He's going to double edge, and that's actually going to be enough to take us out. And we are going to lose this game 2-0 for our first loss on the season of the BBL. Now, this is very unfortunate, and I think I did get 100% tunnel vision while building, because Leo has such a scary team. It's a terrifying team. His roster is phenomenal. And I felt like my best play of beating it in building was to, like, buckle down what he was going to bring and prep specifically for that. And I think, if that was the case, then we would have done well. But this is Draft League. We're not all going to build the same way. We're not all going to prep the same way and play the same way. And we just kind of got reminded of that today. And we're unfortunately not able to, overwhelm him before he overwhelmed us with our very offensive team this week. And got a little bit more chip on his team. Maybe it could have happened. But unfortunately, it's just not going to work out that way. And we drop an 0-2 loss to Leo. But hopefully next week we can bounce back. We play Platinum Howler and it's Delta Glygars, another team that's having a ridiculous season. He's been killing it with that Ice Horse, and that Ice Horse demolishes me. So we're going to have to be careful on how we play him and how we approach that matchup. Hopefully we can come back, get back on the winning side of things, move to 4-1 opposed to 3-2. That looks so much better than 3-2. And yeah, hopefully we can just grab a dub. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. I would really, really appreciate it. We're pushing towards our goal of 500 now. We recently hit 400. Let's go on to the next 100. Hopefully keep on growing and hopefully keep on winning games and getting better. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching again. I will see you guys in the next one. Later.